Hi, my name's Daniel Wotring. I'm here with the B-29 Doc here at Chino, California, and just want to kind of introduce a little bit about the airplane for you. This is a Boeing B-29 Superfortress. It was built in the end of 1944, and B-29s were the leading edge technology of its day. It actually cost more to develop the B-29 than it did to fund the Manhattan Project that gave us the nuclear bomb. Anyway, the airplane, our particular airplane, has a maximum gross weight of 110,000 pounds. That's self-imposed upon us. It's a 141 foot wingspan, and has four 18-cylinder engines. Each of them put about 2,200 horsepower on takeoff. It's just an absolutely beautiful flying machine. I personally, I'm so lucky to go fly the airplane. This is actually a childhood dream for me to fly a B-29. I never thought I'd be able to do it, but it's one of those things, only in America we can chase our dreams and get to them. So,
yep.
Anyway. Yeah.
So how did you get into aviation, sir?
Well, I was a little kid, went on an airline flight going to Houston, and on the flight, the airline pilots let me come up to the flight deck. And my parents said that they saw their kid go up there, and the kid coming back was a completely different kid, just fascinated with airplanes. That was how I kind of got the aviation bug. How I got the warbird bug was there was a B-17 that came through our town, and I was probably 6 years old, something like that. And my mom took me out to the airport, and I got to climb through the B-17, and I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. And at that point in time, I had a fixation with not only warbirds, World War II vintage airplanes, but also history itself. Started realizing how close history was to us. And so that passion has grown. I wanted to become a military pilot, or I wanted to fly vintage airplanes. The military doors kept closing on me when I was late teens, early 20s, and the doors kept opening for getting around vintage airplanes. So I just kept going through those. It's been an amazing trip, though.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So what is your favorite part of being with B-29, and why do you like it so much?
You know, there's a lot to it. First of all, the people. You get, not only our crew that we have are just amazing people to be on the road with, but more importantly, the people we get to interact while we're out on tour stops. On this tour, I started off in Wichita, went to St. George, Utah, now down here to Chino. And along the way, I've met so many people that had personal connections to the B-29. Dad was a navigator at one stop. Another father was a radio operator. I met a lady today. Her dad was a pilot. And just all these different people had connections. We met people that their mom helped build the airplane. So real tie to history. That's really interesting. And then just getting to fly the airplane and share it with people who don't have necessarily a connection to the airplane or World War II, to make that connection and maybe get them a little interested in our own history. There's an old saying that's out there that history doesn't always repeat itself, but it often rhymes. So the more we understand history, the more we can kind of understand our current affairs and how to maybe not reproduce or not have to travel through the same stuff that our grandparents and our great-grandparents may have had to experience firsthand.
Nice. Thank you, sir. And then what was the first air show you ever attended?
The one, I don't know if it's the first air show I attended, but the one that made the biggest impact in my life, I was out here visiting family into Southern California. I was about 16 years old. And it was Riverside Air Show here in Riverside, California. And I knew I wanted to fly airplanes, and I knew I wanted to fly warbirds if there's any possibility. And I tried to talk to a bunch of pilots. Nobody really wanted to talk to me. And then there was this one guy that was sitting on the wing of a P-51 Mustang at Riverside, and he proceeded to tell me how he got into aviation and how he got to flying these airplanes. And he took about an hour with some kid back then. And funny thing was, I started going down that path and started cracking open doors. About 15 years later, 14 years later, somewhere in there, I was trying to get checked out in an airplane, somebody gave me the number of another guy and that could check me out in it. I connected with him. I was here at Chino Airport, and we're at Flo's, and I asked him to tell me his story. Like, before we get into the ground school and stuff, I said, how'd you get involved with vintage aviation? And he started telling me his story, and I realized it was the same guy I talked to at 15 or 16 that I'm now getting instruction from. And the fun part about that is I get to fly with him in formations at air shows. He is now my hangar neighbor. We see each other all the time, and it's amazing. It really struck home to me what a little bit of effort can do to really propel somebody's life forward. So had I not met him, I don't know if I would have known that it was possible to be able to do these things. And that all happened at an air show. That's part of the reason why I go and fly air shows. Part of the reason why I like coming out and bringing these airplanes out, because if I could possibly just inspire somebody to do something they don't think is possible, somebody did it for me, and I'd love to do that for somebody else.
Awesome, sir. Thank you again for coming on.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem, sir. And can't wait to see this guy fly.
And I'll tell you, if you're since you're on YouTube already, check out Airspeed and Altitude on YouTube. A friend and I have just started a YouTube channel. We'd love to see you guys come over.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thanks.